Good morning, FTM Transtastic. My name is Kai, and I'm excited about our topic this week because we're talking about transitioning at a younger age. And hello! So, I transitioned at a younger age than most people, but there are definitely plenty of trans-identifying people who have transitioned way younger than I have. Of course, there's several in the media. Jazz Jennings has become very known for her transition at a young age, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that I might have slight jealousy to people who do that because I just don't understand how children from such a young age are able to be that vocal about how they feel, because I've never experienced that. I've never been someone who could just be like, yes, this is what I am feeling. Let's go forth with it. I've always been more reserved as a child, and I feel like a lot of times the kids that you see who transition a lot younger are the kids who were very vocal and always had a lot of energy and always were very upfront with how they felt. So that's how I feel on that. So I'm trying to figure out, before I was making this video, I was like, when did I come out? I knew I came out around Thanksgiving, and it was about a year and a half ago, which means I believe I was 13. And in a way, I do and I don't regret. I can't really regret not transitioning younger because I really didn't understand that I was trans. I think I wish I did, and I wish I had been exposed to the idea of trans people from a younger age, because I think that would have really helped me. And I dealt with so much depression and self-harming and just all of these things and a lot of gender dysphoria, and I really feel like I could have avoided a lot of that had I understood who I was earlier in life. And I think that's where my regret lies, or my wanting to transition earlier. And I think that mainly I would want to have been able to go on hormone blockers like some young trans kids have been able to, because just the idea of not having to go through puberty and having all that gender dysphoria and not having to go through surgeries and stuff would just be absolutely, God, I wish I was that lucky to have been able to do that. But I'm not. I'm still here though. I think that I am very happy that I have transitioned, definitely. There's a lot of people that don't actually get the privilege to transition at my age, and they have to wait till they're away from their parents, example, or something along those lines. And I think that I would not have been able to enjoy any of my life or possibly even be here had I not transitioned, because I was hanging on by a thread and I needed to change something in my life. Not saying that I just decided my life change would be being a boy, but I definitely needed I needed to accept who I was more, and I needed to be able to be more open about that and to understand who I was. And I think that once I did understand who I was, at least slightly, and I understood my gender identity, my entire life just got so much better. It's weird because it got better and also got a lot worse, because it's exposed me to even more anxiety than I had originally because of, fears of hate crimes and things like that. And I definitely get more negative attention than... I take that back. I don't get more negative attention now. I think that they're equal, because I experienced sexism when I was raised being female, and then I experienced trans and queer phobia currently. And I think that that's my main thing, is that I've learned, I think that I like how much, I don't like changing things. I've always been one of those people when they're like, if you could change something in your life, what would you change? And I personally feel like there's not anything I would change. There's things I would love to change, obviously, but I feel like every experience makes you who you are today. And I'm pretty content with where I am today. So in my opinion, I wouldn't want to change how I transitioned And I think most importantly, I was able to be exposed to what it is to be raised as female. And that's where like I am very appreciative of that, because I have a relationship with multiple genders and sexes and sexualities that I don't think I would otherwise have. And I have closer bonds with my female friends than I think most cis males would, just because I understand them on a completely different level because I was raised a certain way. And I also think it's given me a good backbone to fuel my like feminism from, since I understand how it is to be affected by sexism and misogyny and etc. And so I think that I appreciate the worldview I got from being able to be raised a certain way. However, it was a very difficult way to be raised, absolutely. I just think that I learned a lot from it. And I think, yeah, it's just very eye-opening in general to be exposed to so many things in the world. And I just think it's inspired me a lot. I've put it into my art. My one thing I do want to say for this video is that I think that this has been repeated so many times on this channel, but the typical trans narrative idea, I am not for it. I think that everyone's journey is completely different, and I don't think that anyone's identity is invalid based on how, this is so important, based on how they presented as a kid, what toys they liked, or anything along those lines. It doesn't matter how they dress, it doesn't matter what they liked. That's just going into these ridiculous sexist gender binaries. This annoys me so much when it's like, oh, so you're trans, so did you like pick up toy trucks when you were a baby or some crap? And I'm like, no, I loved Barbie dolls, I loved Bob the Builder, I liked Spider-Man, I liked this, I liked that, I loved the Backyardigans. What are you talking about? I liked putting on makeup and having little purses. And guess what? I still like most of those things, okay? So just because I was a very all over the place child does not mean that I don't have a specific feeling now. And my other thing is, like, I am not very binary. I feel way more comfortable being feminine than I do being masculine, and I love expressing myself as feminine as I could, but I also don't because of passing and yada yada yada, whole nother video topic. But what I wanted to say is that I just feel like we need to believe everyone when they come out, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere if we're saying that you didn't fit a certain narrative, that you didn't have a certain binary to you. That's what I'm going to say. I think that it's good to transition at a younger age, because I think that it's very important to be able to have somewhat of a childhood and not spend it, you know, depressed or however. And so I think that we need to teach kids about gender identities earlier. We need to teach them about trans people. We need to teach them about sexuality. That way they don't have to sit there wondering who they are. Because I remember even with sexuality, like, I found a girl attractive and I sat there and I didn't understand how that worked. And I dealt with a lot of self-hate and a lot of shame because of it. So I just think that we need to work on educating kids more. And that is all I'm going to say for this video, because I just went on a really long rant. And thank you all for watching. I will see you next Saturday. And everyone, please be patient on my personal channel, because I'm working very hard on getting stuff up. I'm working on it, and just please bear with me, please. My thing is, I pre-recorded a bunch of videos, so I'm gonna upload those, but then I also have to focus on current videos, and I look totally different, which is also awkward. Just please bear with me. I love you, I love you, I love you. Alright, y'all subscribe to FTM Transastic, and of course check out everyone else's video on this topic, and I will see you all next